The Forbidden Spellbook. A real ancient book taught humanity how to command nature itself. The Church hunted down every copy, burned them publicly, and executed anyone who possessed them. We recovered fragments of what they tried to destroy. What you're about to see was considered so dangerous that entire civilizations buried this knowledge. Warning: this challenges everything your teachers told you about history. The Cyranides isn't mythology or fantasy. It's an actual ancient Greek manuscript that described practical methodologies for producing measurable effects through stones, herbs, and animal components. This wasn't superstition. It was suppressed science. Today, we're exposing the real spellbook that terrified institutions so completely, they waged centuries-long campaigns, erasing it from existence. What they actually found. Imagine discovering a comprehensive manual written thousands of years ago, containing hundreds of tested procedures combining organic materials into functional preparations with predictable outcomes. Not vague mysticism. Not supernatural nonsense written by credulous believers. Specific botanical combinations documented with precision. Exact mineral selections measured carefully. Deliberately sequenced animal products designed to produce particular, thoroughly documented results. One formula detailed vision enhancement using chrysolite stones combined with specific herbs, creating compounds supposedly improving night vision significantly when worn consistently. Another incorporated magnetite combined with hematite and custom organic binders, allegedly influencing human behavior and emotional states in those exposed to the preparation. Yet another blended rare plants from distant regions alongside metallic substances, purportedly inducing altered consciousness states that facilitated perception beyond normal sensory capabilities. But here's what transforms this from historical curiosity into genuine revolution. The manuscript didn't claim these effects emerged through magic or supernatural intervention. It presented them as natural phenomena resulting from specific material combinations, exactly like modern pharmacology explains drug effects through chemical interactions with biological systems. Each formula included precise measurements. Each included detailed preparation methods. Application techniques received careful documentation. Expected outcomes received clear specification. Scientific documentation throughout. This represented practical knowledge compiled through centuries of experimentation. Systematic, methodical, sophisticated beyond what we credit ancient peoples with achieving. The Cyranides wasn't fantasy. It was pharmaceutical science predating modern chemistry by nearly 2,000 years. Why they destroyed it. When Christian authorities ascended to institutional prominence throughout Mediterranean regions during early centuries following Rome's transformation, they identified the Cyranides as profoundly threatening to their power structure. Not because it contradicted religious doctrine explicitly, not because it was factually incorrect or demonstrably false. It threatened institutional monopoly over knowledge itself. The Church positioned itself as sole legitimate authority regarding natural phenomena. Weather, disease, fortune, human experience, everything supposedly explained exclusively through divine will or demonic influence, requiring priestly interpretation. They demanded absolute monopolistic control over knowledge systems. But the Cyranides proved something dangerous and subversive. Ordinary humans could manipulate outcomes through natural compounds. Knowledge existed outside ecclesiastical control. This threat couldn't be tolerated. Rather than engage intellectually with content, debate evidence, present counter-arguments, church leadership initiated systematic destruction campaigns. Inquisitors seized copies wherever discovered, burning volumes publicly while recording ownership lists for prosecution. Anyone caught possessing even small fragments faced imprisonment, torture, execution, capital punishment for owning information. Think about that consequence. Death for possessing knowledge, for reading prohibited documents, for questioning institutional authority. Monasteries housing ancient texts received explicit orders destroying sections dealing with practical applications. Scribes transcribing manuscripts faced interrogation about suspiciously complete sections. suddenly becoming illegible through deliberate damage. The suppression wasn't passive resistance. It was active, violent, systematically coordinated elimination of competing knowledge systems. Within generations, the Cyranides transformed from widespread reference texts into extremely rare fragments, known primarily through second-hand accounts and historical quotations. That's how powerful this information was considered. That's how threatened institutions felt. The decoded formulas. When scholars eventually reconstructed translated passages from surviving copies and scholarly quotations scattered through historical documents, patterns emerged suggesting sophistication we never credited ancient Greeks with possessing. One formula targeting inflammation combined willow bark, later identified containing salicylic acid precursors, with specific mineral compounds whose chemical properties complemented botanical components perfectly. These weren't lucky guesses or coincidental effectiveness. This represented methodical application of empirical observation and genuine chemical knowledge. Another preparation allegedly improving concentration incorporated plants containing alkaloid compounds, directly affecting neurotransmitter function, combined with mineral substances potentially facilitating bioavailability and neurological penetration. The sophistication implied centuries of research, testing, continuous refinement. Someone had systematically experimented with countless combinations, meticulously documented which produced results, compiled information into organized formats for transmission across generations. These weren't superstitious peoples making random mixtures hoping for magical outcomes. They were scientists, pharmacologists, chemists, individuals understanding botanical chemistry at sophisticated levels. Some formulas describe creating compounds affecting perception and consciousness, combinations providing genuine altered states through neurochemical pathways we understand scientifically today. Others documented preparations with antiseptic properties, pain management capabilities, therapeutic effects matching modern pharmaceutical interventions precisely. The implication becomes unavoidable. Ancient civilizations possessed genuine medical and chemical knowledge, not mystical nonsense, but legitimate science deliberately suppressed. Their understanding of natural compounds rivaled modern herbal medicine applications. Their systematic approach matched contemporary pharmacological methodology. Their results produced measurable effects we're only now replicating. The institutional suppression pattern. Here emerges the sinister pattern that should disturb everyone. The Church's violent campaign against the Cyranides wasn't an isolated incident. It represented systematic methodology for suppressing competing knowledge systems, destroy evidence, eliminate practitioners, rewrite narrative, establish institutional authority as sole legitimate source of truth. That pattern replicated throughout subsequent history repeatedly. Religious dominance, political systems, academic hierarchies, corporate structures, government agencies, each maintains power partially through information control. Each defines which knowledge becomes acceptable and which remains suppressed. Each punishes questioners. Today, we possess more information than ever before. Yet institutional gatekeeping continues through different mechanisms, claiming impossibility, dismissing alternative explanations, maintaining that prevailing paradigms represent absolute truth. Universities restrict certain research. Pharmaceutical companies suppress natural remedies. Governments classify information. Institutions discredit contradictory evidence. The methodology hasn't changed, only the mechanisms. What knowledge are modern systems currently suppressing? What natural remedies exist that pharmaceutical corporations won't acknowledge because they threaten profits? What efficient technologies threaten established power structures so completely that research gets funded toward alternatives? What transformative understanding remains deliberately obscured because institutions can't control it? The Cyranides proves civilizations throughout history possessed more capability than surviving textbooks acknowledge. We've been systematically lied to, information suppressed, evidence destroyed, knowledge hidden. This pattern continues today. Ancient science versus modern mythology. Here's something that reframes everything. We call ancient spellcasting superstition, while modern pharmaceutical companies extract plant compounds, create medicines, and charge enormous prices for what ancients accessed freely. We dismiss herbalism as pseudoscience, while naturopathic practitioners achieve measurable results. We label ancient knowledge as mythology, while rediscovering that their formulas actually work. The Cyranides wasn't fantasy literature, it was pharmaceutical documentation. Each formula represented tested methodology. Each combination addressed specific health conditions. Each preparation emerged from systematic experimentation. We inherit this knowledge as folklore, never acknowledging that ancients possessed sophisticated understanding we've minimized. They understood plant chemistry. They recognized mineral properties. They documented combinations producing consistent results. They systematized knowledge across generations. They created instruction manuals. They preserved methodology. And institutions systematically destroyed this information because it threatened their power monopoly. What does that tell us about history? What does that suggest about what else has been hidden? What other knowledge systems have been suppressed? What other capabilities have we forgotten? The Cyranides represents just one example of suppressed knowledge. Imagine what else remains hidden in restricted museum sections, classified government archives, or destroyed throughout history by those threatened by its existence. What would you do with this knowledge? Consider this carefully. If ancient people could treat illnesses naturally using documented formulas, what does that mean for modern medicine? If they could produce altered consciousness states, what does that suggest about their understanding of neurology? If they combined minerals and plants to influence behavior, what pharmaceutical applications are we missing? If they developed systematic methodologies predating formal scientific method, what methodology did they follow? What philosophical framework guided their understanding? What worldview allowed them to conceptualize nature as manipulable rather than fixed? The Cyranides forces fundamental questions about knowledge systems, power structures, institutional authority, and human capability. It suggests we've accepted incomplete narratives. It implies we've inherited suppressed understanding. It demonstrates that institutions will destroy information threatening their authority. It proves that advancement requires questioning official narratives. Most importantly, it shows that genuine knowledge can survive attempts at suppression. Fragments remain, waiting for reconstruction by curious minds willing to investigate. The Church couldn't destroy the Cyranides completely. Fragments survived. Why did they try so hard? If ancient knowledge was so dangerous that institutions waged centuries-long suppression campaigns, what does that tell us about what they're hiding now? Why would modern institutions maintain similar patterns? One question for you: what ancient remedy do you think actually works, and why won't modern medicine acknowledge it? Subscribe to discover suppressed knowledge. Comment your answer below. What's one thing you think history buried?